Have you ever been out with someone who refuses to pay $5 for parking, but has tens of thousands sitting in savings? Or maybe you're that person. You hesitate before small purchases. You feel a subtle tension when the bill comes. You mentally calculate everything. And even when you can afford it, spending just feels uncomfortable. Here's the question no one asks. What if your frugality isn't about discipline, but about fear? Today, we're breaking down the hidden psychology of extreme savers, why some people can't relax around money even when they have plenty of it. And by the end of this video, you might see your own financial habits in a completely new light. If you enjoy deep psychological breakdowns like this, hit subscribe, because we're diving beneath the surface. Let's start with something powerful. Most money decisions aren't logical, they're emotional. Psychologists talk about something called money scripts. These are unconscious beliefs about money formed in childhood. Before we understood interest rates or budgets, we absorbed emotional messages about money from our environment. If you grew up hearing arguments about bills, watching your parents stress about rent, or seeing financial instability, your brain may have learned one core lesson: money equals safety. And when money equals safety, spending can feel like danger. Even if you now earn more than your parents ever did, even if you have investments, savings, and no debt. Your bank account might say you're secure, but your nervous system remembers a time when you weren't. I knew someone, let's call him Daniel, who built a successful business. Financially, he was solid, but he refused to turn on the heat in winter until it was unbearable. He reused everything. He stressed over small expenses. When he was a child, his family lost their home. That memory imprinted deeply. As an adult, he wasn't reacting to his current finances. He was reacting to a childhood fear. That's the first insight. Extreme saving is often a response to past instability. But here's what's surprising. Not all extremely frugal people grew up poor. Some grew up in comfortable homes, but with anxious parents. Parents who constantly warned about waste, disaster, or economic collapse. Even if money was available, the emotional atmosphere was tense. Children absorb emotion more than facts. So you can grow up financially stable and still feel financially unsafe. Now let's go deeper. There's another reason people become intensely frugal: control. Life is unpredictable. Jobs change. Relationships shift. The economy fluctuates. When people feel uncertain in big areas of life, they often grip tightly to what they can control. And money is one of the easiest things to control. Choosing generic brands, avoiding delivery fees, tracking every dollar, refusing unnecessary expenses. It's not about the few dollars saved, it's about certainty. I once met a woman who refused to pay convenience fees for anything. She would drive across town to avoid a small charge. Yet she spent thousands on rare collectibles without hesitation. It looked inconsistent, but psychologically it made sense. In everyday spending, she needed to feel disciplined. In areas tied to identity and passion, she allowed herself freedom. Extreme savers aren't irrational. They're regulating emotions in specific categories. Now here's something important. Extreme savers and extreme spenders are more alike than they appear. The spender tries to soothe anxiety through buying. A new purchase creates excitement, distraction, validation. The saver tries to soothe anxiety through accumulating. A growing savings account creates protection, reassurance, control. Both are managing the same underlying emotion, uncertainty. They just use opposite strategies. Research shows there's a sweet spot with money. People who practice balanced saving and mindful spending report higher happiness than those at either extreme. Why? Because money is meant to support life, not dominate it. But here's the problem. Extreme thriftiness is socially praised. If you overspend, people criticize you. If you oversave, people call you disciplined and responsible. So extreme savers rarely question their behavior, even when it costs them something important. Let's talk about relationships. Money is one of the top sources of conflict in couples. Imagine one partner who feels genuine anxiety at the thought of unnecessary spending, and another who views money as something to enjoy. To the saver, spending feels reckless. To the spender, extreme frugality feels restrictive and joyless. Neither is wrong. They're operating from different emotional blueprints. There's also a social cost. If you constantly decline invitations because they cost money, if friends feel uncomfortable around rigid financial boundaries, over time, invitations decrease. Loneliness increases anxiety. Anxiety tightens the grip on money. The cycle continues. And here's the irony. Most extreme savers are trying to feel secure. That's the goal. But obsessive saving can create constant tension. You can have a strong retirement fund and still feel unsafe. Because financial security and emotional security are not the same thing. When saving becomes rigid, when it prevents generosity, damages relationships, or eliminates joy, it stops being healthy caution. It becomes fear management. So how do you know the difference? Ask yourself this. When you spend money on something meaningful, a trip, a gift, an experience, do you feel calm and intentional, or do you feel panic and guilt? Healthy saving feels steady. Fear-based saving feels tense. One expands your life, the other shrinks it. Here's the real takeaway. Your financial habits once protected you. They made sense at some point. They helped you survive uncertainty, but survival strategies aren't meant to become permanent identities. Money is a tool. It's meant to create options, experiences, generosity, stability, not constant vigilance. The highest level of financial maturity isn't just building wealth, it's building peace with wealth. So the real question isn't, am I good with money? It's, do I feel safe with money? If this made you reflect on your own habits, that's powerful. Awareness is the first step to rewriting old scripts. If you want more deep dives into the psychology behind everyday behaviors, subscribe now. And tell me in the comments, do you lean more towards spending for comfort or saving for control? Let's talk about it. Because sometimes the smartest investment you can make is understanding yourself.